This is News 25 with Deanna O'Donnell and Eunette Gentry. News 25, local news you can count on. News is brought to you by Golden Gaming Group, where you'll always find great fun, good food, and fantastic entertainment, all at Gold Town, Lakeside, and the Pahrump Nugget. News is also brought to you by J.K. Nelson Law. Call 727-9900 today for your free consultation. If you need a lawyer, you need Nelson.
Welcome to News 25. I'm Eunette Gentry. It's Thursday, August 13th. In our top story, a Pahrump man continues to recover from a serious crash in Las Vegas. Dylan Ward was on his way to work back on June 26th when his car was hit head-on by another vehicle. Dylan was seriously hurt and spent 2 weeks in an area hospital. Fortunately, he's now home, but faces months of rehabilitation. He sat down with News 25's Deanna O'Donnell to talk about what happened and what comes next for him.
So I was headed into work. It would have been about 4 o'clock in the morning when the accident happened. I was out on Fort Apache, and there's a spot where Fort Apache kind of bottlenecks. And so I was coming around a corner, headlights on, everything like that. It still kind of doesn't quite fit with me how it happened, but I was coming around a curve, and it's a no passing zone, but there was an oncoming vehicle that I guess was in a hurry or something, I don't know. And they tried to pass the vehicle that they were behind and just smack right into me, front end collision. After the accident, I guess she called a friend and just skedaddled. Then she got an attorney, and I guess there was a weird thing with the witnesses. I guess they must not have got the information for the witness or something, because the hit and run officer told us that there was no witnesses. And so basically we had to not pursue the felony hit and run charges. The only way she would come forward is if we went ahead with the misdemeanor. And so it was either go with the misdemeanor or not have my family taken care of. So to my knowledge, she's just getting a couple of tickets and slap on the wrist. She had the minimum coverage, which would be the $25,000 that's state required. And so we're going through hoping that the insurance comes through just enough to cover the bills, really, because being out of work for that long. Luckily there is a temporary disability through the union, but it's barely enough to cover anything, really. But my wife set up a GoFundMe, so that's helped. There's been a lot of outpouring of love and support. I ended up dislocating my right leg from the socket, which fractured that, so we had to have 2 plates installed in my right hip. And then I broke my left wrist, had to have a surgery for that. Put a plate in here. I got this nice little scar underneath all this. And then I broke ribs 3 through 7, or fractured, sorry. And then fractured my sternum and my right clavicle. And then I had this crazy seatbelt mark. Thank goodness I was wearing my seatbelt, though, otherwise I would have went through the windshield. But you could see where the seatbelt was, and I had bruising all across. I ended up bruising my right lung as well. So I should be out of work for somewhere between 3 and 6 months, leaning towards 6. I'm pretty limited with the walker right now. Sometimes it's just a lot easier to get around. I'm mostly wheelchair bound, but I've been slowly moving up to the walker, which is nice. It's easier to get around and to keep up with my son, or try to anyway.
Yeah, you have a baby.
Yeah, I have a 13-month-old, beautiful baby. I'm very lucky to have him. But it was due to the whole coronavirus thing. When I was in the hospital, I was in the hospital for, I think it was 5 or 6 days, and then after that I went into the rehabilitation center, and that was about 10 days. And because of the coronavirus, there was no visitors, so I couldn't see my wife or my baby, and that's the longest I've been away from them, since he was born, that was hard, but kept up with lots of messages, tried to keep positive. There is that silver lining that I get to be home with my son for a little bit, which is, you got to find the silver lining in everything if you can.
Yes, and it is fortunate that Dylan was wearing his seatbelt. And if you'd like to help Dylan with his medical expenses, you can donate online through GoFundMe. Just go to GoFundMe.com and search for Helping Dylan Ward. In our other top story, each year Premier Adoption Agency helps place hundreds of children with loving families from across the U.S. and beyond. In Pahrump, they operate out of a new office alongside First Choice Pregnancy Center. Ellen Sorensen explains how the adoption process works and how Premier Adoption Agency helps both the birth mother and the adopting family.
Well, Premier Adoption Agency has been licensed in the state of Nevada for 21 years. We're also licensed in Arizona and Utah, and we primarily work with infant adoptions at the time of birth. Our birth mothers are from the state of Nevada, so the babies are born in Nevada, and the adopting families we work with are all over the country as well as international. We usually have about 70 families registered with us at any given time. We place approximately 55, give or take, infants every year, 58 last year, 47, 62. So we do quite a bit of placements and hopefully help some children from getting put into the foster care system. By time a birth mother or potential birth mother, as we say, an expectant mother gives us a call, she's probably been to a pregnancy center similar to First Choice Pregnancy here in Pahrump, and they have given her her options if she cannot parent. There's a lot of reasons women cannot parent these days. So by time they come to us, they pretty much have thought about it. We discuss with them the options with them. They can get some counseling. We do counseling with them prior to that. And what most people don't know is that the birth parents or the expectant parents usually pick the families that they would like their child to be placed with, and whether they want an open, semi-open, or closed adoption. Any family who's going to adopt, whether it be domestic or international, first has to have a home study done. A home study basically does background, criminal, medical, financial checks, home checks, and that has to be done by a licensed or certified person or agency within the state the family lives. So if they live in Florida, it has to be done by somebody in Florida. Nevada, it'd be done in Nevada. And that's across the board for any domestic or international. Once their home study ready, then at that point they would register with an agency. Nevada is an agency-only state, so all adoptions at some level have to go through an agency. 99.9% of the time, the expectant family or the adopting family is at the hospital, either time of birth or right after, and the baby goes home with that family. Anyone can adopt as long as they've been home study approved by the law, according to the law. Yeah.
And Premier Adoption Agency has offices in Pahrump, Las Vegas, and Mesquite. For more information, you can visit them online at premieradoption.org. And stay tuned, we'll be right back with more financial news from all across the U.S., and we'll tell you what's happening from Washington, D.C.
This segment of the news is brought to you by P&P Property Management. Knowledge, experience, communication, and trust. Call Cynthia at 775-727-4444.
Welcome back to News 25. Well, many are questioning where our lawmakers are on a new economic stimulus package. The stock market reacts to Joe Biden's VP pick. Phillips 66 stops producing fuels from crude oil, and Tesla plans a stock split. Angela Miles has all that and more in our financial news.
Topping our news, no deal yet out of Washington on the next stimulus package. Republicans are proposing spending $1 trillion to support Americans during the economic downturn. Democrats want more than $3 trillion in that bill. The stock market continued to climb in the 24 hours after Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden chose Senator Kamala Harris as his running mate. Wall Street analysts are now weighing in. One analyst tells MarketWatch Kamala's history as a California representative during a period of economic boom reflects a more hands-off approach to markets and commerce in general. Phillips 66 plans to stop producing fuels from crude oil at its refinery in San Francisco. Instead, that refinery will produce renewable fuels from cooking oils. And Tesla could pick up more investors. The electric car maker plans a 5-for-1 stock split.
Thanks so much, Angela. And turning back now to Nevada news, the state has confirmed today 3 new deaths related to COVID-19. All 3 were residents of Pahrump. And it's important to remember that according to the state analyses, that COVID deaths generally correspond to cases diagnosed up to 5 weeks ago. The county has seen 12 deaths related to COVID-19, with 11 here in Pahrump. And be sure to go get tested. Testing is available here in our area. And there are partners with Chemisys Laboratory through Serenity Health. And that testing is on Mondays from 7 p.m. until 9 p.m. and Wednesday and Friday mornings from 7 a.m. until 9 a.m. No pre-registration is required. You can just show up with your ID and an insurance card if you have insurance. If you don't have insurance, you could still get tested. That testing location is Serenity Health at 2280 East Calvada Boulevard. People will begin lining up in the Calvada eye for testing. And if you'd like an appointment for COVID testing or antibody testing, you can call 702-234-5398. And you can also call for an appointment in Tonopah. That number is 775-302-5800 or Tonopah Primary Care at 775-482-9898. And the search for a 29-year-old New Jersey man who went missing during a boating trip on Lake Tahoe Sunday afternoon has been suspended by the U.S. Coast Guard station on Tahoe. The search involved game wardens from the Nevada Department of Wildlife, along with boats from several other agencies, including the South Lake Tahoe Police Department, Douglas County Sheriff's Office, and the U.S. Coast Guard. Around 6 p.m. on Sunday, the U.S. Coast Guard station on Lake Tahoe received a notification of a boat spotted drifting in the vicinity of Glenbrook, Nevada, near the east shore of the lake. The South Lake Tahoe Police Department reported that the vessel had been rented by Ryan Normoyle of Gloucester, New Jersey at 11 a.m. that morning and was scheduled to return at 1 p.m. Multiple agencies searched the area Sunday afternoon and all day Monday, but were unable to locate Normoyle. And at this point, the search shifts from search and rescue to a recovery, according to game wardens. They also say, obviously, our thoughts and prayers are with his family and friends at this time. Authorities are still trying to determine how Normoyle became separated from his boat. Authorities say they don't know if he left the boat to go for a swim or was somehow ejected from that vessel. Tragedies like this are why we always recommend never boating alone and wearing a life jacket whenever you're out on the water, because you never know what can happen, and safety should always be first. And stay tuned right here at News 25. We'll tell you about how you can salvage late summer plans before the fall and the school season officially begins. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 25, the most recognized and farthest reaching local news in Nye County. News 25, local news you can count on.
Welcome back. Well, as summer vacation winds down, you might be preparing for your child's back-to-school physical. That's why August is National Immunization Awareness Month. Cleveland Clinic Children's Dr. Skylar Kalady says it's vital to stay on track with vaccines, especially in the middle of this pandemic.
It's really important that we don't get behind on our routine vaccines and create a different problem, vaccine preventable illnesses. At the same time where we're, adamantly waiting for a safe COVID vaccine to come through, it reminds us how critical these vaccinations are in keeping our patients and our community safe.
Dr. Kalady says it's important to take control of what we can in this uncertain time. That includes protecting your children and yourself from serious diseases like measles and whooping cough. This year, it's more important than ever to get the yearly flu vaccine, too. That's because the flu has very similar symptoms to COVID-19, including fever, cough, and chest congestion. In many cases, the only way doctors can tell the difference is with a test. Dr. Kalady says it's also very critical this year to bring your child in as early as your doctor's office has the flu vaccine available so that they can be protected from influenza in this difficult season where we're also seeing COVID. If you're not sure if your child is up to date with their vaccines, Dr. Kalady recommends calling your pediatrician. She also reminds parents that it's safe to visit your pediatrician's office during the pandemic, as many facilities are taking extra precautions to keep both caregivers and patients safe.
And in other COVID-related news, the youngest learners may struggle the most when it comes to online learning. So a Florida-based company, DOC Learning Solutions, stepped in immediately when elementary schools were caught off guard by COVID-19 at the end of the last school year. They helped hundreds of brick-and-mortar schools go virtual with their engaging and free curriculum designed for pre-K through second graders. Now the unique platform is busier than ever as this new school year gets underway. Kim Martinez reports.
When COVID-19 hit, we already had some bare bones that existed in our pilot schools we're using, and we decided to try to help our community here in Broward County and South Florida at large by giving it away for free.
Today, Luciano Musella works as a team leader for the Doc Learning platform, which provides crucial online curriculum. But he originally comes from a high-performing Florida private school called BB International.
Amelia, I'm ready to order.
It was at his old school that Musella and his teachers first started working with Doc Learning. Now, during the COVID school closures, Doc Learning is saving the day for schools that have little to no online curriculum to work with.
But we saw immediately that the 5 schools that we had piloted this year began using it by April in this way during COVID-19, and we realized, hey, we could probably help a bunch of schools out if we gave this to everyone.
200 schools have taken them up on the generous offer to help launch their students into the virtual world. Doc Learning is an innovative approach that covers all the basic subjects online, but the students' actual teachers are involved every step of the way.
What colors did you use? ¿Qué colores?
When the students are able to go back to class, because they've been with their teachers all along, the transitions will be easier.
We would start by recording a teacher in the morning and giving a brief morning message, morning introduction. And then there was also an option on there where I would record a read aloud for the students to listen to and respond to certain questions throughout the story before, during, and after. And then the teachers were able to get on the platform and walk the students through each lesson on the day-to-day.
Another component of the Doc Learning program is it provides a great platform to keep teachers and parents connected.
The parents are loving it, and they are able to upload pictures of their students working on the curriculum at home. And the students at home are able to see the students that are here at school.
And that's where we found our greatest success, is really in highlighting that community relationship between the teacher and the families.
Kim Martinez reporting.
Speaking of online instruction and learning through computers, solid-state hard drives are becoming more commonplace in PCs and laptops. In today's Great Computer Deals quick tutorial, Josh Osborne explains to us why they are such a great option.
Hi, it's Josh with Pahrumph's own Great Computer Deals. Let's get right into it. It's time for another quick tutorial. Technology is always coming out with a claim to make your computer faster, but sadly, most of these innovations leave us totally disappointed. That trend has changed. Here's why you need a solid-state hard drive now. Part 3. Solid-state hard drives allow your computer to boot up much faster. Take a look at this test. See how quickly the laptop with the solid-state hard drive is booting up compared to the laptop with the standard spinning hard drive? Great Computer Deals is here to help you upgrade your computer or provide a new one that will help you benefit from this awesome solid-state technology for way less than you think. Why trust a technician when you can trust a friend? Great Computer Deals is located at 1190 East Highway 372. Call us at 775-990-8833.
News 25 WeatherCam is brought to you by Lerner and Rowe Injury Attorney's Office in Pahrump. In a wreck, need a check? Call 702-877-1500.
All right, let's take a look outside through our weather cam at this gorgeous day. We see a few scattered clouds, but we'll take a closer look at those temps for this Thursday with Michael Donahue when we return.
News 25 weather is brought to you by Dairy Council of Nevada. The splash of cream in your coffee, the dollop of sour cream on your burrito, the melted toasty cheese on your pizza. Undeniably delicious, undeniably dairy. Enjoy what's real.
Welcome back. We're having a few technical difficulties with Michael, so here's our weather from the desk. From across the Silver State, here are our highs and lows. Las Vegas tops out at 107 with a low of 83. Death Valley's high, lucky 113 with a low of 88. Amargosa's high, 105 with a low of 73. Beatty's high, a perfect 100. Then the low drops 30 degrees to 70. Goldville's high, 92 with a low of 58. Tonopah's high, 90 with a low of 57. Carson City's high is also 90 with a low of 59. Fallon's high 97, then dropping to 60 overnight. Fernley's high 96, then dropping to 62 overnight. And it is currently 102 degrees and mostly sunny here in Pahrump. Again, our high, we're there, topping out at 102. Winds are out of the southwest at 9 miles per hour with humidity relatively low at 10%. Sunrise was at 6:01 a.m. And tonight will be mostly clear with a low of 77. Winds are out of the east at 9 miles per hour. Humidity increases to 18%, and sunset is at 7:35 p.m. Looking ahead to our 7-day forecast, it will be sunny tomorrow, but then the clouds roll in over the weekend, and it looks like they'll linger throughout the beginning of our work week. Then it might clear up midweek with the clouds rolling back in. Winds will be out of the west-southwest tomorrow at 8 miles per hour, and they will linger around that range. Friday's high will be 107 with a low of 79. Then for our weekend, we'll top out at 110 on Saturday and 112 on Sunday, with our lows ranging in the low 80s. For the beginning of our work week, we will be skirting with the 1-teens, and then the temperatures will gradually decrease throughout the beginning of our work week to 111 and 110, with those lows lingering around the low 80s. And I also want to remind you that there is a wildfire burning in the Southern California area, and some of those winds are drifting here into Southern Nevada. If you notice that it's a bit misty or a bit hazy outside, it is possibly due to those winds from that wildfire. So please be safe. If you are asthmatic or have any respiratory issues, please keep your windows closed. And if you're sensitive to any particulates, please be aware. Well, that does it for this edition of News 25. I'm Eunette Gentry. And from all of us here at KPVM and Ace Country Radio, thanks so much for joining us, and we will see you next newscast. Good night.